Hello, dividend executives. Welcome back. The stock market is closed today, but today we are coming at you guys with a new spreadsheet. I've been asked about this hundreds and hundreds of times over the last 2 years. Can I have your spreadsheets? How do I get your spreadsheets? How do I get something like that? And so finally, what I have done is I have put together 6 tabs so far. I will continue to add to this as the weeks go on, as I come up with new trackers, new forecasting, changing up things. I will continually update this for all the members, but I've finally come out the spreadsheet and I want to go through it. There's 6 different tabs as of right now. I'll probably have about 12 tabs when I'm all done, but I wanted to come out with something because I keep getting asked over and over and over. So it's time to do it. So we're going to go through a couple of the tabs. If you're a spreadsheet, guy like me or a girl like me, and you want to track everything and you want to go through everything and you want to track your numbers, track your goals, track your progress, then this is what's for you. So let's jump through it. Let's go through some of the tabs. Let's talk about how you're going to have to retrofit this to make this spreadsheet actually work for you, and what we've outlined here. So first things first, the 2025 goals. This is just a main annual goals sparkline, super simple tracker. Obviously you can change it, you can input data differently, you can have this pull to other tabs if you want to, but for me, to keep things simple, I built this and have this outlined on just the accounts that I share publicly on YouTube, which is a small traditional IRA, my dividend account that I built from zero, and then the Roth IRA that we're trying to push towards 160,000 by the end of 2025. So you can see some of the data is filled out, some of the data is not filled out. The reason why is because you have to go in and take this main options income tracker, and you have to fill out data, right? So whether you have traditional IRAs or Roth IRAs or dividend accounts or taxable brokerage accounts, when you fill out that data, then you have a point to that data, and then all this is just a percentage thing, right? So if you have, let's say take this dividend balance thing, and let's say the balance or the goal is to have the account to 50,000 by the end of the year, then you just have it divide by where you're sitting right now. In this example that I put here, 37,300 out of the 50,000 puts us at about 75%. So it'll just slowly forecast. So red obviously is in the bottom third, orange is going to be in that middle third, and then when you get to green is when you're in the top third, which you can see at the 74%, this 62.39%, and then the 5.2% under that. So this is just a quick graphical representation of where you're at with your goals, whether it be annually, whether it be 6 months, whether you do it multiple years out. This is a cool way to just jump in, see where you're sitting, if you're trading options, how you're looking overall towards your goal at the end of the year. And it's just kind of fun to track it that way. So that is the first tab, of course, and you have to retrofit it to your data or to the spreadsheets that you want it to tie to, but a fun little graphical representation of how you are tracking for that goal, right? Now, let's jump into it. You guys see this each and every single week as we update the dividend portfolio. I simplified it. I cut it down. I pulled a bunch of the data out and just showcased if you want to just plug and play your data, you can come in here, you plug in your stocks over here to the left, you plug in the years. If you need to add more years, you add more years. We have obviously the table up here with 2023, 24, and 25. If you need to go back further, then obviously you just change that as well. But this gives you at least a base. If you don't have a spreadsheet at all, or if you want to change some stuff, or you want to add some spark lines, or you want to add pivot tables, or you want to reference any of this data, then you can do that, right? So this just gives you a base case here. So we have the tracker at the top. We have all the individual stocks here and the totals. We have the spark lines here. You can see, should be pulling right there. There's the formula for it. So now you'll have formulas if you want to add your own spark lines to anything, and it makes it pretty cool to be able to track there. All the same boxes and everything that I use every single week. There's the pivot table at the top, which will give you a synopsis of all of your income. Obviously, if you're going to add multi-years, then you can expand the data, expand the cells, look through that, and then a breakdown of how you have your assets diversified and how much percentage goes into each of the one, etc., etc. And all you have to do is just go in and select the highlighted data, select and highlight the data that you want to use for that. And then of course I left this in here as well if you want to track over time. All of this needs to be retrofitted. All this needs to be retrofitted to match your data, right? Everybody's data is going to be different. I only have 12 stocks in my dividend portfolio, but some people might have 4, some people might have 30. And so you can make it more simple, or you can go as hard as you want. You just obviously just have to add new lines. So that is the dividend tracker. That's the one I use every single week, and it's made it really nice for forecasting and looking at how the account could be over the next couple of years. The next tab number 3, we've seen this a couple of times on the channel as well. I am a huge person for setting goals and pushing towards them each and every single year. It's one of my favorite things. It keeps you motivated. It keeps you constantly looking at where you are in your goals and where you want to be towards the end of the year. So I've thrown this in here as well. You can see the same thing we threw the spark lines in as this. I just love the graphical representation of where you're at. Just so when I quickly look at it and say, okay, I got some orange here. I needed more VTI and I need more JEPQ. So I need to throw some more time or some more money into those. Just quick looks, right? And then you can see obviously the TSLY. I knocked that one out for the year. So you can come in here, you can input your data, you can add stocks, put your share. So you could see obviously your share goal is right here. In line C or in column C, and how much it's going to take me to get there, right? So if I have 174 of RDT, for example, my goal is 250. I need 41 left to hit my goal, or I'm sorry, 75 left to hit my goal with the share of $41 a share, which will cost me $3,113 as of right now in order to finish that off. So these are the kind of things I like to track. And then also on the drip, if you guys have any of these weekly dividend payers on drip, this is kind of a fun portion too. I know we talked about it in a couple other videos, but I reinvest all my dividends. And obviously when you're reinvesting your dividends, you're buying more of that stock each and every single week, right? So we want to take account for that. So that's why I have all this XAD, RDT, YMAX, and QDTE here. So that it shows that my drip is buying me on average about $146 worth of assets every single week. So that's going to pull down the cost that I'm going to need. And so that's where you get the gap analysis on how much additional capital you're going to need by the end of the year to get there, right? So $15,000 is what we're going to need to hit all of these goals as of today's prices. And if I just let drip do a portion of it, I let my weekly deposits do a portion of it, then I still have a gap of 2,400 that I got to make up. And you guys know I'm making that up through selling puts as of right now. So that's the 2025 share goals. On to the next one. You guys see me do this as well every single week. I trade options. This is a super simple sheet, but it's nice to have, right? So there's a couple different things here. Obviously, you can have a drop down for all the stocks that you like to trade. So you can see the list of items here. You can obviously add to it, subtract from it, simplify it, or you can get rid of the drop down if you want to just type it in. But this gives you a base case, and this is just for calls, puts, and trades, right? If you want to add more, if you're trading leaps or spreads or whatever iron condors, whatever kind of trade you like to trade, you can add it there as well in the drop down. I just like the drop downs because it's quick, grab, go. And then accounts as well, right? I simplified this to raw, traditional, taxable, because those are the accounts I share publicly on YouTube. But some people have way more accounts, right? You could be married and you have multiple accounts. You have 2 traditionals, 2 Roths, 2 taxables, which is what I have. So you might have to add more there. And then the same thing we talked about before, but premium collected is what you get paid when you open the option. The money spent is how much you pay to close the option, and then the result is obviously whether you made money or lost money on the trade. And then all of this tracking data is here as well, right? Everything, you'll have to input your own data for balances to get your total return. So for me, the way I do it is on the first day of every single month, I go in and I grab the opening balance that sits in my Robinhood account or whatever account I'm trading with, right? And so I just enter that there, and then I know where I started at the start of the month, what percent return I make in options throughout the month, and then we go from there. This also has the annual income goals. You'll have to change this as well. This is going off of this date over here. If you've watched some of my videos, you know how this works, but These are just base cases, right? My goal is between 2 and 4% every single month trading options. And so I set the base cases based on a starting balance at the top of the 126, 129. And I built the base cases from there. You guys can do the same thing, but with your portfolio size, right? So all you have to do is just drag and drop. You just come in here, you put the amount that you started with, and then drag and drop. And it's going to give you your 2%, your 3%, your 4% base case. And then you'll just need to see how much, you'll just have to retrofit it to your numbers, right? And then the actual is where I'm actually trading. So that's that. And then for this as well, these are all updated to the dates. But on these, when we get to February, you'll have to go in and you'll grab what's the first week of February, what's the second week, what's the third week. Grab all those numbers, and then you'll come over here and you'll edit the cells and you'll put in the actual dates, right? So if it's 10/1 to 10/4, then you'll update that. But you can use the January one; it's up to date as an example, and then you just forecast it into the future. But I will continue to update these things as well for all the members in the community. So let's get to the next one. Weekly dividends. You guys see this every single week as well. I updated this and now I'm sharing it. The one that I had publicly shared for free had some data that was outdated on it. So this one's pretty updated as of right now. Obviously, you're going to want to take all of my information out of this and you're going to want to plug in your own numbers, right? You'll want to do this. You'll just, delete it all and then start with whenever you started and then go from there. Your total returns will be different. Your cost on capital is going to be different. So when you come down here to, right here, how many shares you actually have, input that. What is your actual cost basis on the shares? And then what is the actual return? And that's just what you see in Robinhood, right? So if you're down, $300, for example, on QDTE, then you put that in there because that doesn't tell your actual return. We're looking, when we have dividend stocks, we're looking at actual total return. So you input the data there and then input all your data here and it'll give you a good synopsis of your numbers. So that is my weekly dividend tracker. I do that just to look at how drips are doing, how much drip I've gotten from my shares. And I just like to track things. So hopefully you guys like to track it as well. I'm guessing anybody that's watching this likes to track their information and wants to stay on top of it. So that being said, we are to the last sheet here. Again, more sheets are going to be added, but I am slowly but surely going through them. This is the forecaster, right? We've talked about this in videos probably quite a while ago, but for these weekly dividend payers, if you want to look at a compounding effect and where you're at with that, this is what it is. So you take QDTE, you have the share price, you say I want 1,000 shares of QDTE at the average of $31 a share. Let me just change this color. I don't know why it's so bad on the iPad. At $1,000 a share, then 1,000 shares at 31 cents per share, then you can see in week one, you're going to get paid, obviously, $313.24. You're going to drip yourself 7.85 shares, which is going to bring your rolling lot up from 1,000 to 1,000, 7.5 or 7.85, and then so on, so forth, right? The next week, now you have 1,007 to get paid off of. Now the dividend per share may change, but this is just going off of one dividend. You can't forecast the future on what the dividend is going to be. So, so that's a drip calculator. It's fun to look at. And then you can see the synopsis here, right? So with QDT, for example, on this annual income on that, with you left drip on, you'd get 500 shares purchased through drip, $20,000 of annual income. And it kind of tells you what your total share count would be at the end, right? 1,502, where you started at the 1,000. So that's fun to mess around with. You can obviously plug in any stock you want to. You just come in here and you change the ticker right here, and then it'll auto update everything else, and then change the share count if you want to change that. So those are the six. Oops, let me jump back in. Whoops. Those are the 6 sheets as of right there. Again, we're going to be updating things as time goes on. I will continue to add more sheets here, but this is for members only on my YouTube channel. So after this video drops, I will be posting a comment with a link for you to copy the spreadsheet. All members are going to get this. You just need to be a member of the channel, and it's really easy. You obviously just go into YouTube and do it. That's the easiest way that I can do it as of right now. I don't want to mess around with sending it a PayPal and doing all this stuff. If you support my channel here and you want the spreadsheet, it'll be right there. It's super cheap. I did the cheapest option YouTube had available. If you want to support me more, obviously you can do the the more expensive option, and I appreciate that. And there will be some other perks that are coming with that later. But for right now, super cheap. Spreadsheets available as of today. I will be dropping it with a synopsis and the link as of today. So subscribe, and it's all yours. Thank you, everybody. As always, I appreciate your support. Hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully some of you are going to jump into the spreadsheet and start inputting the data. I'd love to see it. Tag me on X at darkminer71 if you are going to start using the spreadsheet. I'd love to see what your goals are looking like this year. But thank you, everybody. As always, I appreciate you. Happy investing, and we'll catch you tomorrow.